Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of Introduction to Special Education. To start out with, I want to let you know that as a group, you guys did a great job on the exam in week 3, and I know it was a tough exam, so congratulations. I did want to go over a couple of questions that I think somewhat consistently had incorrect answers, so I just wanted to clarify. So keep in mind that there is a difference between 504 and IDEA. Section 504 of Section 504 of the Americans with Disabilities Act, of the Rehab Act, is a civil rights law. It is not special education. And to qualify for Section 504, you need to have a disability and it needs to impact a major life function. IDEA, on the other hand, does have federal funding where 504 has no federal funding, and it is the special education law. And to qualify under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, a student must have a disability and require specialized instruction. Please keep in mind that 504 plans are not consolation prizes for not being eligible for an IEP. So you may run into a circumstance where a student is referred to special education and not found to have a disability. You can't qualify for 504 unless you have that disability that impacts a major life function, which could be learning or breathing or walking, any of those types of things. So that's something to keep in mind. Remember, 504 is civil rights, IDEA is special education. The other one that I noticed some consistency with is that before a student is referred for special education, typically what we see have happening in school districts is something called response to intervention, and that is intervention through general education. In Connecticut, it's called SRBI, scientifically research-based instruction, but it's all this response to intervention idea. And the idea there is that there should be tiered interventions for students in general education. There is that tier 1, which is that good general education that everybody's getting. Tier 2, where there are some additional supports, and tier 3, where there are some more intensive supports, but all of this is through general education. So making a referral should not be sort of going 60 miles an hour, going from zero. There should be some general ed interventions. And so if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to discuss that with you in more detail. So that's the exam that I wanted to go over. One of the things I did want to say is it seems like all of you really have a great handle on accommodations and modifications, sort of the how for the accommodations and the what for the modifications. And I was so thrilled to see that consistently. Everybody really seems to have a good understanding of that. That's wonderful. Which sometimes experienced teachers don't always understand the difference between accommodations and modifications. So I'm thrilled that all of you really get that. So for week 4, we're going to jump right into looking at students with emotional or behavioral disorders and also students with autism. Both of those are extremely hot topics right now. And if you ask teachers what the biggest issue in their classroom is, typically the answer is behavior. Something I want you to keep in mind also is that you should be continuing to work on your final research project, which is due in week 6, which is going to come up before you know it. So let's look a little bit more into what your assignments are going to be this week. Wait, I have some notes here, and my computer is not loading them. There we go. Okay, so this week's discussion, you're going to be looking at, you're going to be talking about autism. And the quote that's in the discussion is, if you met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And my guess is that the several of you that are in this class that work with some students with autism will definitely have some opinions and experience to share with us about that. And we would really appreciate hearing about that. If there's anything else that you have questions about, going back to the exam, please feel free and reach out to me. It's really important that you have a mastery of all of those things. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you this week. There's some great stuff going on in our discussions, and I've been really enjoying that. And again, if you have any questions about the exam, if you have questions about your final research project due in week 6, or any of the assignments that are in week 4, feel free to reach out. If you email me, I typically will get back to you within an hour or two, and we can always set up a time to talk. Have a great week, and if you're watching this on Sunday, and if it's sunny and bright and as lovely as it is here, I hope you get a chance to go outside and take in the lovely spring weather that we're having. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the discussion.